Grizzly bears are nature's ultimate predators. They are massive, lightning fast, and equipped with claws that can shred through flesh and crush skulls with a single bite. These animals don't just hunt to survive. They can become unstoppable forces of rage when provoked. In 1956, two men, Lloyd Pennington and Everett Kendall, faced this terrifying reality in wild Alaska. What happened that day was gruesome, tragic, and unforgettable. So why couldn't the two men defend themselves from the deadly predator that day? Stay till the end to find out the whole story. Alaska, with its vast wilderness and rugged terrain, has long been the domain of the formidable grizzly bear. These apex predators, capable of weighing up to 800 pounds and standing over 8 feet tall, are considered highly dangerous animals. In the 1950s, Alaska's grizzly bear population was relatively healthy, especially compared to the connecting United States, where unregulated hunting and habitat loss had drastically reduced their numbers. During this era, grizzly bears were not afforded the protections they have today. Hunting was largely unregulated, and human-bear interactions were common, often leading to fatal encounters. The 1950s saw an influx of explorers, hunters, and adventurers drawn to Alaska's untamed frontiers. However, this surge in human activity increased the likelihood of dangerous encounters with grizzly bears. The tragic deaths of Lloyd Pennington and Everett Kendall in 1956 serve as a stark reminder of the perils present during that time. Lloyd Pennington and Everett Kendall weren't just two random adventurers. They were seasoned men of the wilderness, drawn together by their shared love for the rugged Alaskan frontier. Lloyd, a 56-year-old experienced bush pilot and hunting guide, knew Alaska's untamed land like the back of his hand. Everett, a 53-year-old skilled outdoorsman and fellow hunter, was no stranger to braving the wild for its challenges and rewards. It was early April 1956, and Nicholson Lake, just off the Glen Highway, 147 miles north of Anchorage, was a frozen stretch of wilderness. The Alaskan landscape was shifting from the icy hold of winter to the hint of spring. The air was sharp, and the snow glimmered under the faint northern sunlight. Tall evergreen trees surrounded the lake, standing still except for the occasional gust of wind that broke the silence. Lloyd Pennington was used to flying around small planes, as it was the easier way to navigate this rugged, dense forest area. He was a simple man at heart and wasn't on a bear hunt that day, but just scouting the area for potential hunting spots. As his plane skimmed the landscape, something caught his eye. Emerging from the edge of the forest, lumbering with unmistakable power, was a massive grizzly bear. Grizzlies spend most of the winter hibernating in dens, staying there for 5 to 7 months without food or water. They survive by slowing their heart rate and living off body fat. But when spring comes, they wake up hungry and restless. This bear was likely just out of hibernation, searching for food after months of survival sleep. From the air, Lloyd could see how big the bear was. Its thick winter coat made it look even larger, and it moved with the confidence of an apex predator. Lloyd couldn't have known it then, but spotting this bear would change everything. What began as an ordinary flight over a quiet, snowy landscape was about to lead him and Everett Kendall into a deadly encounter. The moment Lloyd saw the grizzly, he knew the bear was worth hunting. Lloyd had teamed up with Everett Kendall for hunts before, and they were seasoned partners. It was their 5th trip together, each one pushing them deeper into the Alaskan wild. This time, they decided to make a day of it when both had a break from their busy lives. After some quick communication, Everett made his way to meet Lloyd at the Tuslina Glacier Lodge, a spot they often used as a base before their hunts. The lodge, tucked away in the wilderness, gave them a place to rest and prepare for the challenges ahead. That evening, they spent the night talking the strategy they will follow. The next day, they took to the sky in the same plane and flew low over the snow-covered mountains toward the area where Lloyd had seen the grizzly. The rugged terrain beneath them was unforgiving, but they had no doubt they could track the bear. The journey was just as dangerous as the hunt itself, but neither of them hesitated. With the plane's engines humming steadily, they set off toward what would become their final adventure ever. As they flew closer to the bear's den, Lloyd and Everett could see the area more clearly, a dense thicket of trees broken by patches of snow and ice. The den was tucked into a small ravine and looked quiet, but they knew the bear could be close, just waiting to emerge from its winter rest. Lloyd skillfully landed the plane on a sparse patch of ice, the engine sputtering to a stop. The ground was frozen but uneven, the ice not thick enough to guarantee safety, but just solid enough for their landing. They grabbed their gear, a pair of powerful rifles, binoculars, and camping items brought for such an occasion. Everett carried a large hunting rifle with a scope, while Lloyd had his trusty shotgun for close-range defense. Both men also packed ropes, in case they needed to handle the bear's carcass after the hunt. The trail leading toward the den was mostly iced over. They moved cautiously, following the tracks left by the bear, knowing they had to be silent and alert. As they neared the den, they picked up sticks along the way to prod the bear if it stirred. Once in position, the two men paused and shared a smoke to calm their nerves. They discussed their plan. If the bear came out, they'd take their shots quickly and efficiently, making sure it didn't get the upper hand. They also talked about what to do afterward, how to recover the body and get it back to the plains safely. Just as the men were preparing to initiate their hunt plan, suddenly the bear emerged from the den, and it was nothing like they had expected. Far from weak or weary, the grizzly came charging out with terrifying speed and power. Everett barely had time to react. His first shots missed completely, and before he could aim again, the bear was upon him. With a swift, horrifying motion, the bear grabbed Everett by the head. Its jaws clamped down with a sickening crunch, crushing his skull like a watermelon. Everett's body went limp within seconds, and the bear tossed him aside like a rag doll. His partner saw in horror and panic and tried to shoot. Lloyd managed to shoot at least one shot that hit the bear, but it wasn't enough to hold him down. The bear turned on him instantly, its claws raking across his chest. Lloyd struggled to get another shot, but the bear was too fast. It lunged, biting into his arm with crushing force, and pulled him down to the ground. He suffered deep wounds on his face, back of the head, and arms. Both men were nowhere near any match to the massive bear, and without hurting it enough, they didn't stand a chance. This is exactly what happened to them. Both men went on a hunt and got hunted instead. When Lloyd and Everett didn't return as planned, Joe and Luke Kreteler, neighbors who knew about the expedition, began to worry. Realizing something had gone wrong, they alerted Whitey Faisler, a local guide with a plane. Faisler immediately took to the skies, scanning the area. After a brief search, he spotted Lloyd's plane near the ice. Landing nearby, he followed a trail of blood leading through the snow. The gruesome scene he uncovered confirmed the worst. Both men were dead, and the bear had been injured, as evidenced by the bloodstained trail left behind. The bodies of the two adventurers were recovered by a search party organized at the Taslina Lodge. The party had vowed to kill off the grizzly and return to the area. Luckily, the hunters cornered the bear and shot it dead. The tragic deaths of Lloyd Pennington and Everett Kendall could have been prevented because the grizzly was driven by primal instincts after emerging from hibernation and wasn't attacking out of malice but simply protecting itself in a world that had forced it into a desperate hunger. This tragic story is a reminder of the raw, untamable power of nature, which can turn a hunting trip into a nightmare. Subscribe to our channel for more interesting videos and press the like button if you like this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in another video.